What's up, college baseball fans? Welcome to another episode of the 11.7 podcast. We are here recapping weekend number 2 and all of the craziness that went along with it. I'm going to start the show by thanking our excellent partners at Home Field Apparel and the team of the week. This is going to be like a new tradition that we do. We're going to pick a team of the week and show off the merch that Home Field has. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel where we're going to actually do a little share screen action, and boom, you guys can see that. So TCU, Horned Frogs sweep UCLA, and they have some fire merch on homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code CWS24 for 15% off your first purchase. Now, I love this like gray script right here, or the gray shirt with like the frogs script. I'm just a big cursive guy. But if you don't like cursive, they have some awesome cartoons, unique drawings, hoodies, crew necks. This one's sweet. Froghorn. Don't know what it is, but it looks cool. And then you have like the classic horned frog look. So
Wait, go back up to the top. Oh, whatever.
I just closed out of it. Which one did you like?
The first couple at the top. I don't remember them now.
Yeah, I liked the Letterman jacket at the top. I
That's
think it
what
was
that was cool.
Yeah, like the bomber jacket. That one's
sick.
sweet.
Yeah, that one rocked.
Yeah. So congrats to TCU.
Hey, who would your other teams of the week be? Oregon State and Arkansas? Are
Yeah,
they
I mean, I watched.
teams of the week?
I mean, Hagen Smith was player of the week, and he plays for Arkansas. We'll dive into that. We won't touch on that right now, but what he did against
the only
Oregon
reason why I brought that up is because we got to do our own team of the week 11.7 merch.
Look at that. Defend the dam.
Defend the dam. Comfort
With
colors,
some beavers on it.
tee, big old sick graphic. And then we got this one. I don't know if you can see it right there.
Hey, turn around a little bit. Just hop up.
There you go.
Looky there.
For those listening at home, Dimitri's doing his best.
Defend the light.
Boy, you're not flexible at all.
No, dude, I'm in a chair that's like a big old love seat chair. Like it's hard to turn around right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, we got our own merch at 11.7.com as well. That includes like trucker hats, hoodies, t-shirts, unique designs. It's a really cool place. So if this is the first time you've ever listened to the pod, we do things a little bit different on Sundays. It's coast to coast, talking about the biggest storylines, the most viral moments, teams of the week, player of the week. We recap the whole weekend from start to finish. And at the very end, we'll preview the midweek, which the midweek's pretty loaded this week. I'm excited about it. And Sunday nights, we also release our mid-major power rankings, which we power rank the top 25 teams in non-Power 5 conferences. So that's everything that's not SEC, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10. And a lot of people, again, we got a lot of new followers this week, so I just want to break it down one more time. A lot of people say, hey, the Big 10, not a Power 5 conference in baseball. Well, guess what? Just go look at the athletic budgets and look how much they spend on baseball. There's a huge gap between the Big 10 and the next conference, which right now is battling between the American and the Sun Belt. I mean, it's just it's millions and millions of dollars per team difference. So we keep it mid-majors, just teams that aren't funded like the Power 5. Number 1 this week remains the East Carolina Pirates after their big weekend series win over North Carolina. Today's game was one of the best games I've ever seen, especially regular season. Dimitri tweeted about it. I mean, that was super regional vibes. That was Texas, East Carolina super regional vibes from, what was that, 2021? No, 2022.
Yep.
Because 2021 was when East Carolina played at Vandy. That was a sick super regional too. But so East Carolina number 1, followed by like Dallas Baptist, UC Irvine, Indiana State. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but
In Campbell.
Now Campbell has an argument because Campbell has beaten UC Santa Barbara in a weekend series, and they did beat East Carolina in the midweek. Personally, I think it's a toss-up. But what we had to do was who would win a weekend series, East
There you go.
Carolina or Campbell. The midweeks are great, and it was a back and forth game. That game was awesome this past Tuesday. But who would win in a weekend series? I think it would be very close. I think home field advantage would play a big factor. But if Campbell and East Carolina did a home, and neutral site, right now, I would probably lean East Carolina, and that's just the
100%.
truth. Now, there's
100%.
arguments for both sides, so don't get too mad, Campbell fans.
Yeah.
I lost
No,
my
hey,
train of
by
thought.
the way, do I sound better if I hold the mic up here like this?
Yeah, you do sound better.
Okay. Some people are busting my balls over talking to the mic, you big bozo.
Yeah, there's that one burner account that gets after you. That's funny.
But yeah, I think the argument is there to be made for Campbell. But I like I said, it's about the game of baseball. It's a 3-game series. That's the win and the loss. One game. Now, hey, if Campbell wins the season series, they will 100% be in front of East Carolina. Obviously, depending on their season, how their seasons go. But yeah, I mean, if you look at that top 25, I don't know if you can put Campbell in front of Indiana State or Irvine or Dallas Baptist right now. Those teams are on another level.
I think you could look at the top 12 teams and say these are Omaha caliber teams, like all the way down, like because you have UC San. Oh, I guess UC San Diego will not be an Omaha team. They're not eligible for the postseason. That still gets me pissed off. But you got Troy,
Who
Coastal
replaced them in
Carolina,
San
UC
Diego?
Santa Barbara, Northeastern, Southern Miss, even Charleston 7-0. And Jack got to call the Charleston game today. I mean, the boys look good. They can really pitch.
Guys, we were 7 2/3 of perfect baseball. Hand up, did not jinx it. And I felt like I had the obligation to let people know, since it's Flow Sports, you might just be tuning in, that we had a perfect game. Didn't blame it. Connor Campbell was electric for 7 2/3. I've never seen a perfect game in person before. It was pretty electric. But yeah, the Cougs can always throw it. That was never a doubt.
Yeah.
Hey, fun fact. I think it was Randy Johnson's perfect game in Atlanta. I was there.
No shit.
When he was on the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Was that like 2002, 2003-ish?
I was there.
Wow, dude.
I mean,
That's
I was a little
actually
kid.
crazy.
I was a little kid, but I still remember it.
That's awesome.
It was just a random. I think it was just a random weeknight game. My mom company had some ticket. Wasn't even half full. The stadium wasn't even half full. And yeah, all of a sudden it was one of the most iconic games ever. Randy Johnson's perfect game.
Yeah, that was, like, past his prime too. He ended up throwing a no-hitter, I think, a couple of years later for the Yankees,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
when he was way old. Hey, speaking of Randy Johnson, USC is so bad. Like, I know he played at USC, the Trojans. They're so bad this year. People were hyping him up. Dimitri was the first one to say, these boys are not gonna be good."
There are a couple teams that deserve the F word that are flying around. Ben, one of them that you've kind of snuffed out as well. I don't want to throw around the word fraudulent yet, but Iowa's sneaking into that category too.
Dude,
Just
They're close.
everybody was
They're
talking
freaking me
about
out.
Iowa's pitching, blah, 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 and I said, "Guys, I mean, Brody Brecht's not gonna throw 7 2/3, 8 innings every time he goes out there. Like, he's a 5, 6 inning guy. After that, I don't trust their bullpen. You know, Marcus Morgan's a great Saturday guy, but after he gets done, like, who's gonna come in? I mean, they gave up, I think, close to 50 runs, maybe 50 runs this weekend, a bunch of runs.
Wait,
And
what happened? I didn't even follow that tournament at all in Jacksonville. What happened in Marcus Morgan's start? Because all I remember, it was like 10-9 in like the 7th inning yesterday.
yeah, all I know is I bet the under 14 thinking it was a lock, and it was like 7-7 in the 3rd inning. I was
Marcus
like,
Morgan got smacked around, huh?
I didn't watch too much. I was more scoreboard watching, and so I can't say anything about his start. But yeah, the Iowa pitching staff was terrible this week in
I'm gonna
Jacksonville.
pull up the
They
box
go
score right now.
0-3. They blow like an 8-run lead to Wichita. Get smacked by Auburn. Like, it was just a bad weekend for the Hawkeyes. Um, yeah, I don't know if I would call them frauds. I just think that they were overhyped, like I said, preseason. Said they should not be a top 25 team. I
you
think
said that.
Indiana's way better.
You did. You said it from the jump. I watched a little bit of it. If you're going to pull up the box score, my guy Darren Vaught was on every single broadcast this weekend, all 6 games. He absolutely crushed
He's
it.
awesome. He's a
Oh God,
great broadcaster.
so good, man.
Hey.
You guys have never listened to him. He does all of East Carolina basketball, but he does the ACC baseball podcast as well. But he sat next to Kyle Peterson. He crushes, man. But dude, Wichita State was the Auburn. Your Omaha pick looked
Hey,
mighty.
we need to get
Mighty bad, but also Wichita State, who lost like 31 dudes, first year head coach. They were really impressive too. Like, dude, they hit some yabos this weekend. They were a lot of fun.
We got to give Auburn credit where credit's due. That's a good baseball team. I think they're still playing right now against Virginia.
No, they just lost. They lost 6-4 to Virginia.
Okay, great. That was a great game. 6-4. Virginia took the lead late. But I think that's a really good team. I think that's a top 4, top 5 team at worst in the SEC West. I mean, yeah, the West.
Like 7 teams in the West.
There's only like 7 teams. You got Ole Miss and Mississippi State below them.
Sorry, LSU, Arkansas,
Texas A&M,
and then Auburn right there.
No, I mean,
that's a really good team.
Top 5 team. I do think they look good, man. That's going to be a fun Omaha 8 to highlight and pull the receipts, pull the clips. Benny Boy called it first,
dude.
Yeah. I also said Georgia Tech, and Indiana will all be really good this year. Nobody was talking about them, and here we are. I know it's only 2 weeks in the season, and obviously this means nothing. Nothing even matters until conference play, anyways. But I did feel pretty strongly about those 4 teams that are just flying under the radar. But I also said Louisville would be good, and they're trash. Louisville is so bad.
St. Bonaventure, yikes!
Whoa, hey, the A10's locked and loaded this year. I've been trying to tell the people, but Louisville's not good.
Yeah, Louisville's not good. So, anyways, let's talk about Club Bromaha real quick. We're only 10 minutes into this. The people that need to know about how successful Club Bromaha was on Friday night. Jack hosted. I was second chair, and it's hard to explain exactly what we were doing because it wasn't very planned out, but it turned into just one of the best, most broed out sessions that you could have on a Friday night. The chat was live, just tons of people responding in the chat. I think we ended up getting close to 900 views total, which is like unique viewers. And the whole night we had between 35 and 48 like live people on the chat with us. And we ended up getting Troy's head coach, Skylar Meade, after their big win to hop on. We interviewed him real quick, shook hands, kissed babies. And we stayed up until 3 a.m. Eastern. We all bet on the Hawaii money line, and they just toyed with our emotions the whole time. They jump out to a huge lead. At this point, it's like 1 a.m. And then they give up the lead. Then they come back, tie the game, and then they gave up like an 8 spot. It was a lot of fun. We're going to try to pick one day a week where we open up Club Bromaha, and Jack and I were in suit and tie. Dimitri popped in, I think 3 or 4 different times for 5 or 6 minutes. It's a very formal. We had sunglasses, suits, ties, our hair was done. I even put cologne on. I smelled good. And we just scoreboard watched, hopped around from game to game, watched Hagen Smith, 17 strikeouts in 6 innings. We announced, we were like kind of doing like a radio broadcast there. So if you have not subscribed, subscribe to our YouTube, because this is a YouTube only show, and it is 100% live. And I really do think a lot of our listeners would enjoy it. It's probably the most fun. This past Friday was probably the most fun I've had in a long time, just in general in life.
I think it was one of the coolest experiences. I don't think we had any idea what we were getting ourselves into. Dimitri set up this badass. We had the ticker down below. You could see all of Ben's live bets. You painted the night well. It was a soft launch, though. I want you to think Food and Ben. This was a very, very soft launch, folks. Think simulcast. Think the Manning cast. We're going to run the show. We're going to bring in guests. This was the one thing that I had to say. How do you not? I don't care if Troy got swept by Harvard. Troy's got to be the number 1 team in the mid-major rankings, fella. After their win on Friday night with his wife in the other room, Skylar Meade jumps into Club Bromaha, enjoys a beverage or 2 with the fellas. Vibes were immaculate. We had a national anthem sung. Just know that going into this next one, it could be Tuesday, could be Wednesday, we're going to find the best matchup imaginable in this midweek. We're going to sit down. We're going to dress well, test well, as Ben said, with a nice little bit of cologne. Riz God Dimitri's going to pop in and get the fellas rolling. It was the coolest, I felt like, interconnected group of people that I've never met before. And by the end of the 6 hours, I felt like I had a new family. It was one of the
We were all just best friends in the chat, and the chat was electric. Shout out to everybody that joined. Um, I mean, I want to do it every night. I texted the group on Saturday. I was like, I'm kind of addicted to this. Like, I want to do it again. And we had to kind of pull it back because we want this to be, I don't know, once a week thing, maybe twice a week. Make it
I think
exclusive.
hey, you gotta keep Club Bromaha super unique and super like rare. Like you can't just overdo it. It's got to be like one a week max.
To your point, Dimitri, when we're like joking around about like, hey, this is the initial night of Club Bromaha. Like, hey, we've got a nice little support system of 35, 40 of just think about a house party, but 35 of your 40 like closest friends just watching a game together. And then we go, hey guys, it's about 11 o'clock. Do we send out the what you doing text? It's like when you're with the boys and you go, should I hit her up? Should I hit her up? I go, I just interviewed Skylar Meade last week. I'm all in on Troy. I interviewed Cole Myers, who hit freaking, by the way, 3 home runs this week, and he's got 6 out of leadoff spot. I go, I'm kind of got a man crush on Skylar Meade. Do we hit up the boys and send out the what you doing text? Coach tweets or texts right back 5 minutes later, and he's on freaking, he's in. He no bouncers for Skylar Meade. He strolled right in through the red velvet ropes. And Skylar Meade is now a staple. We're going to jersey hang his freaking up in the rafters of Club Bromaha. You never know what you're going to get. So the next one, and to your point, Dimitri, keep it local, keep it new. We were like, do we tweet out and let everyone know that we've got Skylar Meade on the pod? No, it was for the fellas.
I didn't get that word. I didn't know that you guys.
No, I thought you did it perfectly. We could have made a huge announcement and sent a bunch of stuff out. We just sent a nice little text out like, hey,
Skylar Meade just walked in the door. We didn't even have to ID him. We just let him in.
Yep, VIP treatment too. But guys, we ended up going 6.5 hours long. But it felt like 2 hours. And obviously I look at the clock, it's 3:30. Hawaii just blew like a 3-run lead. And I'm like, all right, we got to go to bed. Dude, I woke up the next morning and I was like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. I'm gonna open this up at noon Eastern. Let's just do it all day. So it's kind of a mixture between like squeeze play, Manning cast. I don't really, it's kind of its own thing though. So y'all subscribe to the YouTube. That's why I brought it up, because it could launch any day at any time. So you want that notification, because I promise you, you want to be in the chat. It was a blast.
Let me say this. So I hopped in, I left, and then I hopped in again. But I was also watching you guys when I was doing some other stuff, and I was enjoying listening to you guys reading the chat and stuff. And I wasn't even like in the stream. I was just like watching it purely for entertainment, and it was so enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I really do think people will enjoy it. It's only going to get better as we get better at it. This is a Jack and Ben thing. This is not a me thing. I might show up as a guest or whatever, but it's their thing. They do this how they want. I'll just be a guest, if you will.
No, we needed Riz God in the building. Riz God.
Dude, I don't know why homie kept calling me Riz God.
Loved it. The chat was calling Dimitri Riz God, and I don't know if I'll ever call him Dimitri again. From henceforth further.
I don't know where he got that from.
I don't know, but I love it.
I will say this too, moving forward, Ben, I think it's going to be a case in point where, the last 2 hours we ended up playing some Sporkle to try to get the vibes high and get us back into the Hawaii bet. But I think from start to finish, I think we just keep going out on a whim. Like, I don't think we plan to bring on a certain coach. I think we just shoot from the hip.
What if
we just shoot? We got a lot of their phone numbers. So if they have a big win, we're just going to have to shoot a text. You up? You want to hop on? Come on.
What if you just like behind the scenes line up like 2 or 3 guests, and then randomly, just whenever they're available, they just hop into the thing? Like Skylar Meade, at least plan a few random guests, but don't say anything about it. Just let them randomly show up in the stream.
I'm down for that.
You know what I mean? So it's a little raunchy and off script, but you at least can plan it a little bit so you have guests coming.
Yeah, we're just going to feel it out. We're just going to feel it out. It's a very unstructured show because it lasts forever. But boys, let's talk a little bit about this weekend. I want to start Friday afternoon. when Stony Brook goes into LSU. I thought it was for the first time since that 2012 when
No,
they
they
it
played in
made it.
2019.
Yeah, but they did make the Baton Rouge regional in 2019. But yeah, Stony Brook comes in the Seawolves and upset LSU. That was cool to see. It was more of like a nostalgic thing. Obviously, LSU's the more talented team, LSU's the better team, but for the guys, and I don't think it's the same coach either. I think it's a different head coach, but for that program to say like, "Hey, we're back." Like that's big time. And
Yeah.
I was happy for the Seawolves. Great name, great uniforms, and I think they'll be a competitive. They're in the CAA, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Hey, you know
another
what's funny?
CAA team that's gonna be very competitive this year. That's exciting to see.
You know what's
But
really funny is this goes against the narrative. The narrative we wanted to paint on Friday was that Stony Brook owns Alex Box Stadium. But a few hours before that game, they lost to Northwestern State in that same stadium. But nobody needed to know that. We didn't want to talk about that. We just wanted to talk about Stony Brook owning Alex Box when LSU's in the other dugout. So that was cool to see. Obviously, they got their ass handed to them today. I think it was like 17-10 or something like that.
still
Um,
put up a lot of runs.
but yeah, good little storyline to kick off the weekend.
Yeah, and another team that had, I think it was 2012, maybe it was 2013, but Kennesaw State goes into Clemson and day
No,
one just
Tallahassee.
whoops them.
Tallahassee.
Oh, I thought they won the Clemson regional that year
No,
when they
they
made
went
it to
they
a
went to
Super Bowl.
Florida State and won that regional, and then they went to Louisville. Super.
That's right. Okay. Well, never mind. Take that point I was about to make and throw it out the window. But Kennesaw State did crush Clemson. Two things I want to say about that. Clemson, one, that ESPN Plus broadcast was so bad. Like, you should be embarrassed. Two, there was not even a scoreboard on that broadcast. And it's probably a good thing that there wasn't a scoreboard because you ended up losing, what, 18-1, 18
Wait, did you
nothing.
not see my tweet?
No, I saw it. I ended up seeing it where you added in the scoreboard. That was great. But anyways, yeah, Kennesaw State ended up winning 18-1. That was fun. What other upsets were there this weekend? I know Holy Cross ended up beating Kansas State. I know High Point
Belmont
on
beat
Friday
South
night.
Carolina.
Yeah, well, High Point on Friday night went into Oxford and beat Ole Miss. That was kind of a red flag after Ole Miss splits with Hawaii. Everybody's like, "Uh-oh," but then Ole Miss ended up taking care of business the last 2 games, including I think they won 25 to nothing today, 25-1.
Yeah.
Uh, crazy, crazy times. And you're right though. Belmont did beat South Carolina on Saturday. I think Belmont's a good team though. Uh,
Yeah.
typically Belmont will be,
They'll be fighting for a
competitive.
conference championship.
Yeah, exactly. So South Carolina fans don't freak out too much. I think other than that, they handled business the rest of the week. So
They came back
uh,
and back with a mercy run, home run today.
right. Let's see if there's any other Friday storylines here that I'm missing. I mean, Hagen Smith stole the show. Let's just dive into that game. Everybody was anticipating this Friday night matchup between 2 top 5 teams, Arkansas, Oregon State. You have the number 1 position player in a lot of draft boards, Travis Bazzana, facing off against the number 1 or number 2 uh, pitcher in draft boards with Hagen Smith. And Hagen Smith made Bazzana look lost at the plate. And believe me, I've been lost. I was a left-handed hitter. Sometimes when you face a left-handed pitcher, you don't even see the ball. Like the ball starting out from behind you and ending up on the outside corner. And that's what Hagen Smith did. And the fact that he went 6 innings, so 18 outs, and 17 of them were punch outs. And he only threw what, 70 pitches?
I think it was
That's
68.
68.
68 pitches? That's incredible. I mean, he could have struck out 20 plus easily. He still had 9 outs left.
Dude, that's 50. What is that? 17 times 3, 30, 21, 51 strikes, 17 balls.
Yeah, and I know he walked one. It was on 4 pitches because that's when Jack and I really started taking notice. We're like, "Wait a minute, he's at 12 strikeouts in 4 innings? That's nuts." On Club Bromaha.
That game,
But anyways, Hagen Smith bounces back, like, opening day against James Madison, he did not have his stuff at all. He did not look good. James Madison kinda punished him for a lot of mistakes, and I came out preseason and said, "I think Hagen Smith is the best pitcher in the country." I think him and Chase Burns are 1, 2. You can have them in any order, but they're the most Paul Skeens-like pitchers as far as stuff goes. And,
I have a point to
like
say right now before I forget. I was watching Chase Burns yesterday. No, dude. Paul Skeens is on. There's another tier. There's another tier. Like
right.
Chase Burns is electric. Like he's got the stuff. He's electric. And everything. But Paul Skeens and Chase Burns are not the same right now. When you watch
No,
Paul
no, you're
Skeens,
right, yeah.
it was pure domination. When you watch Chase Burns, teams are still competing. Of course, they're getting dominated, but it's not that same just shove it up your ass like you have no shot type of domination.
Exactly, and for Paul Skeens, it was the consistency that he had. You knew every Friday night he was getting 12, 13 punch outs, he was going 7, 8, 9 innings, and, like, teams were gonna look, like, dumb. They were gonna look really dumb against him. Uh, Hagen Smith made Oregon State look dumb, but he's gonna have to do that 7, 8, 9 more starts in a row to be compared to what I mean, I still think Paul Skeens is the most dominant pitcher in my lifetime in college baseball. And, let's see, I'm 28 years old, so let's just say, like, since 2000. Some people compare him with Steven Strasburg. I think he was more dominant than Strasburg. But anyways, the major point I was willing to make was, 1, that felt like an Omaha game. I know it was at Globe Life Field in Arlington, but the way Oregon State battled back, they were getting I mean, they put 4 balls into play in the first 6 innings, 3 of them were hits, one of them was a ground ball to second base, but then they come back from down 4-0, they tie it up, Arkansas had to go ahead, they took the lead in the bottom of the 8th, but yeah, it just felt like an Omaha game, like, possibly like an Omaha finals game. So, what do you guys think about, Oregon State? What do you think about Arkansas? Because I have a hot take here once you guys finish.
Um, I'll go ahead. I think right now you could argue that Oregon State and Arkansas are 1A and 1B, top two teams in the country as of right now today. I don't think you can sit here and say Oregon State is better than Arkansas. I don't think you can say Arkansas is better than Oregon State. Arkansas won that game. But I promise you, if that was a 3-game series, that game is going to the 8th inning of game 3 before you figure out who's winning that series. Arkansas pitching staff loaded, unbelievably loaded. They've got everything they need. They've got a lot of fuel. They've got a lot of precision. They've got everything. Offensively, this is where I'm like, imagine taking that 2021 Arkansas lineup or 2022 Arkansas lineup with this pitching staff. Oh, dude, this is a 60-win team.
Easily, right.
So,
Because
like,
Arkansas's weekend rotation is you got Hagen Smith, Brady Tygart, Mason Molina. Like 3 guys that would probably be number 1s at 95 to 98% of colleges. Like Friday night solidified starter, and you have them Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The bullpen was good too, other than I think it was Will McIntyre who kind of struggled Friday night, got into some damage. But Oregon State's offense, on the other hand, it is just as powerful as well. Good pitching will beat good hitting, but Oregon State's
oh, come
offense,
on.
you saw the last 2 games.
Hagen Smith will never do this. You put Hagen Smith up against Oregon State next Friday night. I bet he goes 6 innings, 2 runs, 9K. Just a
Right,
great
exactly.
start, but nothing like what we just dude. When a pitcher is on, you can't stop them. You cannot stop a pitcher that's on his shit that day.
Right. But yeah, Oregon State's offense, like they scored 11 runs on Saturday against Michigan. I think they scored 8 or 9 tonight against Oklahoma State. They scored 10 plus against Texas Tech in the midweek. Like this is an elite offense.
Hey,
So
Bazana today, 2 home runs, 3 balls, over 100 miles an hour off his bat. By the way,
yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna
And
have to do like in order for Oregon State to win a national championship, he's gonna have to do it against guys like Hagen Smith, though, because he did not look good. He did not look comfortable in the box, but I guess nobody technically did. So
nobody did. Nobody would have.
yes,
dude, he had a hat trick on 13 pitches. He struck him out 3 times on 13 pitches. Dude,
yeah,
what we saw was insane. And then I don't know if y'all saw this, but Arkansas on the softball diamond went no the very next day. So, like, I don't know what they're cooking down in Fayetteville, but your longitude and your latitude are spot on. What we saw on Friday night, we all freaked out It was almost like we were disappointed in unbelievable web gem play when the second baseman, I can't remember his name, goes backhand diving play, two hopper to first to get a speedy runner out. And everyone's like, every out needs to be a punchy. Damn it. But what we saw Friday night
we were upset about that. Yeah.
we were pissed. I was like, shit.
All right. Would you put Arkansas and Oregon State? Would you put them in front of LSU right now or Wake?
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is my hot take. I think Oregon State's the best team in the country right now. It took a 17 strikeout performance, I think 23 total in the game on Friday night. They lose by 1 run, 5-4 to Arkansas.
Yeah, Aiden
Other
May was
than that, dude, I think Oregon State has the best mix of like lethal offense and very, very good, almost elite pitching staff. They are
I
cooking
hope
teams.
I hope Aiden May is like not seriously injured.
Yeah, I think he's gonna
I
be
didn't
fine.
get word on what the final diagnosis was. Did you guys know?
No, but in college baseball, usually if it's like something severe, they'll announce it like later that night or the next day. There's been really no word on it that
So
I've
it's
seen,
probably some
which tells me
tightness
it's
for
probably
him.
like a day to day, like let's just feel it out, let's stretch it out, whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna go on it. Right now, I think Oregon State should be the number 1 team in the country. I know they lost to Arkansas. I get it. But think about how they lost. They could have won that game.
should have. Yeah.
They possibly, like, should
You know
have.
what everyone's
Now,
gonna say?
Arkansas fans are gonna hate me. Arkansas fans are gonna come after me. Just remember, Arkansas fans, I picked you to win the national championship, so it's probably a good thing that I'm not putting Arkansas number 1.
I picked my College World Series final. I don't know if you guys remember Arkansas versus Oregon State. Oregon State wins the national championship. That was my preseason pick.
Yeah.
And damn, let me tell you, boy, I'm feeling confident as hell about that.
Right. I think right now, I know we still have 4 months of baseball to be played. I think there's only about 20 teams that can win the national championship. Like, legitimately win the national championship, and 20 might be a stretch. Call me crazy, but
I drink the
I
Kool-Aid.
don't see a path for more than 20 teams.
I sip the Kool-Aid though, because I see a ton of mid majors that are actually like could surprise you and go
Oh.
win games. But
I think there's some mid-majors that could get to Omaha. I don't think there's any.
2 win. Yeah, that's true.
You
I
can't
don't think
convince
there's
me.
any that can win the whole thing.
You can't convince me. Even 2016 Coastal Carolina, I mean, that's one of the best mid majors we've ever seen. I don't think they can get through that Arkansas or Oregon State gauntlet of a lineup
Yeah.
and pitching staff.
TCU's lineup has been nasty. I mean, we're forgetting
Florida,
about Wake
I mean,
Forest.
a team like Florida State is unbelievable right now, and I don't know how people were sleeping or missed on this team. Florida State looks damn good too. I mean, they're like 8-0. I mean, their pitching staff throws gas. They can pitch. Their line of Cam Smith, Tibbs, and Drew Farrell, who's hitting like 500 right now. I mean, the team looks really, really, really good. So there's a lot of good teams right now.
Let's just take the state of Texas right here. Texas Tech's offense, I mean, is just putting up I think they're averaging like 15 or 16 runs a game right now. TCU's offense is even better, in my opinion, than Texas Tech's. They're doing it against better competition. And then you have the Texas Longhorns, who are holding teams to, I think they're averaging less than 3 runs a game on the pitching side.
I tweeted this out an hour ago. The Longhorns are going to have pitcher beeps all year. They didn't give up a run all weekend.
They didn't give up a single run, and that's against a good Cal Poly team that beat Missouri twice opening weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't zeros.
Zeros across the board, not one. 27 innings, 0 runs. So that's what I'm saying. Like, those 3 are teams that I think could win the national championship. Arkansas, Oregon State, yes and yes. Then you have, I mean, pretty much maybe 7, 8 teams in the SEC. That's 13. I don't know. I don't wanna do the math here, but there's not a lot of teams that I think can run the table and win 6 games in Omaha. But anyways, that means nothing right now. I don't even know why I'm saying that. That's just targets for people to come after me. Let's
All right.
see. Let's talk about the East Carolina, North Carolina series. It's been too long. We're 34 minutes into this podcast. We should have started with it. What an incredible, like, just viewing experience to watch that series. Jack, I don't know how much you saw of that series. I think you watched a pretty good bit, but it was Friday night was awesome. Saturday was even better, and Sunday was the cherry on top. The back and forthness of Sunday's game, game 3, where it looked like East Carolina was gonna, they were gonna win the game. They were 4-0 in the 6th inning. Boom, it's 4-2. Walk a couple guys, give up a bloop single, bam, 5-4, they're down. People are starting to stress. I mean, this is at the Jungle. This is uh, this is late in the game.
When the Jungle gets going, it gets rowdy.
Yeah, and, like, they had the air just deflated out of them after that 3-run bomb to make it 5-4. Well, they come back. They tie it up. Boom, and then I don't remember the exact chain of events, but it was, like, 7-5, then 7-7, then 8-7, 8-8, 9-9. I mean, it was
It was 6 lead changes to finish that game. 6 to
sick,
win that
yeah,
baseball game.
and
Crazy.
and I tweeted about this on the 11.7 account. I think the Jungle is the best college baseball atmosphere at full capacity. It's better than the Dude. I think it's better than Alex Box because it feels like the fans are literally on top of you. This is like if I cannot think of what it's called, and people are gonna hate me, but what is Duke's basketball stadium called?
Cameron Indoor.
Can't
Indoor.
Macy's?
The Someone clip that. That shows you how much I care about college basketball. But Cameron Indoor, it is, like, tightly compact. The student section is right there on top of the players. Like, this is not like a three-deck, three-story building. It's just, like, 1 story right there. That's how East Carolina's baseball field feels. Um,
It's so
and it
damn
it goes
small,
all the
though.
way around,
Just like
360
Cameron Indoor.
degrees.
Just like Cameron Indoor. Cameron Indoor's tiny too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the feels
Yeah.
small. It feels yeah, dude. I love it. It's one of the most unique places to watch a game, and I can't wait to go there and watch a ball game. Like, I want to watch a postseason game there.
Yeah, and hopefully
I
they host, but,
mean,
uh
a middle of a game in June. It is humid as fuck. It is hot. You are drowning in Bud Light and Coors Light, and you're just drowning in beer out in the outfield. People are sweating all over you, and you are just screaming your ass off for the culture of the Jungle.
yeah, it's a treat. But anyways, the series, it showed me a lot about both of those teams. I think the first 4 or 5 guys on each staff, pitching staff are elite. And I think after that, there's a lot of question marks. Like, it felt like, especially today when the bullpens got in there, Dimitri texted me, he's like, "Bro, this guy's throwing 86 slop. Like, he is getting mashed right now." And you just can't have that. But, like, just Savage and, I'm trying to think of who is UNC's guy that they threw on Friday? Um, I don't know. It was like
But hey,
pitching duel, and
I
today, like,
think
kinda opened the floodgates.
I think East Carolina, Yesevich and Root
It's
1-2
Savage. It's
punch
you,
is
Savage.
a top tier pitching combo for Friday and Saturday between Yesevich and Root. I really enjoyed watching both of them pitch this weekend.
Yeah, that's a great 1-2. Like, that's a 1-2 that can win a super regional. Also in this series, probably my favorite tweet of all time. From the UNC baseball official account. I'm gonna read it word for word.
I saw
I'm gonna
this.
try not to laugh as I read this. Vance Honeycutt blasts his 5th home run of the year and brings us within a grand slam of tying the game. ECU 7, Carolina 3, end of 8.
So how
It
do you? So
brings
if you're
us
down by
within a
one, what do you
grand
say?
slam of tying
Quarter.
the game.
What do you say if you're down by one? A quarter of a grand slam. We're only a quarter of a grand slam away.
We are 1/2 of grand slam from tying or taking the lead.
They were
I mean,
good.
just an all-time, like, indirectly funny quote.
It's so funny you have that because I have 2 notes for this podcast, and one of them is I saw my favorite tweet of my entire life, not even just college baseball, that may have been directed at Dimitri. But I don't want to digress off yours though. Vance Honeycutt is exactly who we thought he was, though. He was so good all weekend,
Yeah.
and I'll say this: I think, Ben, you owe Dimitri and I a thank you for allowing East Carolina fans just absolutely to adore you after we took North Carolina to win that series. Because after North Carolina beat you Savage, I was like, there's no way that the Heels don't win the series now. I was like, they just beat their best guy. I don't care that it was at home. Like, frankly, they don't have a home field advantage in Chapel Hill. They don't. So, like, I mean, I felt like if you won with you Savage, then you had a shot. I wasn't worried. And then all of a sudden, Honeycutt, every time he was asked it was called upon, he was in every big moment. He delivered every time. But East Carolina just constantly fought back. They're one of those teams where it feels like, I don't care if it was this year or 10 years ago, their entire lineup looks the exact same. Like it's the exact same dudes every year, plug and place. They absolutely rake. It's timely hitting. And I thought it was funny too, like watching that game today. I was like, I thought this game was sold out. Like you'd see like one or two empty chairs, and then you looked into the outfield and you're like, oh, it's because they crammed 5,000 people into a 10-foot space. Like, got it. It was electric. But yeah, I learned a lot about them in their response. I felt like losing with the Savage on the mound on Friday. I was like, oh, this series is done so.
No,
Great
yeah, they showed
series.
a lot of fight, a lot of grit. Just a great series there. Saturday, we kind of skipped over this, but instant classic between Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Saturday night, it's midnight Eastern, and it is 1-1. Neither team can get anything going off the other team's pitching staff. It ended on a two-strike suicide squeeze from Oklahoma State, and that was a big win for Oklahoma State. And the fact that they lose 2 out of 3 to Sam Houston State opening weekend. They're really not playing good baseball, or at least up to their standards. But after a good midweek and then beating Arkansas, neutral site on a Saturday, like, it kinda gave the boys something. I don't know. It ultimately didn't matter because they got smacked today by Oregon State, but they got that big win that they can hold on to the rest of the year. And it kinda raises the point Dimitri made earlier. Like, Arkansas's offense still has a lot of work to do. Like, they don't have that guy that's, the RBI machine. And they might, like, when Peyton Stovall comes back, in a few weeks, like, he might be the spark plug to the offense, but, 1-1 against Oklahoma State, I know Arkansas fans, I know Arkansas players, they feel like they should have probably scored 5 or 6 runs that game, and they just couldn't get it done. So, all in all, that tournament was fun. It was definitely worth the Flow Sports subscription, and, yeah, let's see.
I've got my game of the week.
Yeah, talk about your game of the week, Jack. Go ahead and talk. I gotta plan a couple things here.
Friday night in Club Bromaha, the gentlemen, they rallied. They rallied around a little small team in New York's, just off on Long Island. The Sharks swam all the way down to Coral Gables and gave the Canes a run for their money on Friday night. Some of us had big money, 10 to win $120. Someone had a 20-1 slip. Admin account, we'll have to fire that intern. Just ripped all over the Sharks. Couldn't get it done. They end up losing Friday night. Everyone loses their bets. Now, here's the tweet that I have in question. It's the only note that I have. After an unbelievable Saturday showing, Long Island, they swam down. I know they're listening. Spinny hats up for Dimitri. Miami, after the loss on Saturday, well, it got to be that they were a 7-run dog. Long Island wasn't Miami. Long Island wins on Saturday. Miami posts the Uno graphic that says, post the final score or draw 25. And the guy draws 25.
That's hilarious.
So cliche. I loved it. It honestly made me love Miami a little bit more, but we ride or die with the Sharks. I'm not going to talk about what happened today and how Miami responded, but LIU for the win.
Yeah.
Shout out Noah Sorensen hits the go-ahead 2-run homer on top of the ninth. Redshirt freshman.
First career hit.
Yeah.
First career hits a game winner.
Think about the freshman that made differences this weekend. Walk-off hit from East Carolina with a freshman, Bristol. Long Island freshman, Oregon State, or somebody else had a freshman make a big-time hit somewhere around the country. I don't remember, but there was a bunch of freshmen stepping up this weekend, which is awesome to see. I mean, even the sophomore class, from a draft standpoint, is loaded. The freshman class is loaded. We've already talked about the big
Oh,
freshmen.
can we talk about a couple freshmen right now? Drew Burress from Georgia Tech. I think he has 5 homers this year. He's hitting above 500, like 14 RBIs out of the leadoff spot. He passed up the draft, like big time, like possible 7 figures in the draft to say, I'm going to Georgia Tech. I'm going to go develop. And yeah, he looks awesome. Same thing with Daniel Cuvée from Miami. He
Third base.
5 homers, 14 RBIs, hitting 600 this year. He's another guy that could have gotten drafted last year. Goes to Miami, immediate impact bat. There's a ton of good freshmen out this year, and that's what's going to make college baseball good. Because what made college basketball good in like the late '90s, early 2000s was you got to see these freshmen that would come in, play basketball, and you got to see them for most of the time 3, 4 years. Like think about Tyler Hansborough and stuff like that. The one and dones, other than Carmelo Anthony and a few others, um, were pretty rare back then. You got to see guys 3, 4 years, and you're starting to see that now in college baseball. Think about Tommy White, 4 year, he's gonna be a 3-year guy. Um, I don't know. So those freshmen are important to growing the sport of college baseball. So it's good to see. I always root for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a bunch of freshmen. Even we talked about Trent Caraway at Oregon State, and then there's another freshman somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I love seeing the young guys step in immediately because then it's more fun to remember their name as they progress over the next 3 years before they get drafted and move on to their professional careers. So I love seeing it. I mean, it makes it more enjoyable to see these guys grow up, and we watch them every day.
Yep.
Um,
Let's see here. I got another
hey,
story we can talk about.
how about them Cal Golden Bears? I'm really impressed with them.
Did they end up sweeping UConn?
They swept UConn this weekend.
Wow.
They, I mean, they made 2 comebacks Saturday and Sunday to sweep them, shut out BYU in the midweek. They lost that one game to Boston College. Or else this is the undefeated team with a top 25 win over Kansas State. And we all know how good UConn had been over the last couple of years. They always have a good team. They always really challenge themselves with a tough schedule. So I think Cal, a team that can compete in the upper half of the Pac-12 with Oregon State. And we just saw UCLA this weekend, which we haven't talked about yet, that series. Yeah, have we?
No, I mean, there's really not much to talk about. TCU proved that it didn't matter where they played. It didn't matter if it was at TCU, at UCLA, or at Charles Schwab Field. They were the better team. TCU week 1, kind of looks shaky on the pitching side of things against Florida Gulf
Dude, they
Coast.
look super shaky. Even against
Yeah.
Texas State, they barely held that lead. They couldn't keep Florida Gulf Coast gave them everything. And that was not the same TCU team we just saw this weekend. That was the team that was not the team I picked again. If I would have
Right.
saw a little bit of that TCU team, I would have picked them this weekend.
Well, that offense is lethal. The Horned Frogs offense, 1 through 9, it's very similar to Texas A&M's offense and TCU's offense, or Texas Tech, TCU, A&M. I feel like all 3 of them have just loaded 1 through 9, big-bodied guys that just mash the baseball. So, yeah, there's really not much to say about that series. TCU was by far the best team. I think they're a top 5 team in the nation, hands down. And once the pitching gets going, which you saw a good bit of it this past weekend, but like when they really start going and hitting their stride, they might win 20 in a row at some point this year. Like they're that good. What
What
do
do you
you
got to
guys?
say, Jack? What do you got to say?
Yeah, Jack, what do you have to say
I
here?
agree.
We've kind of been talking over you. I feel bad.
No, you guys you're cruising, man. TCU's loaded. I felt like Carson Bowen is still that dude, but they're really they dominated from start to finish. Like they really did.
Yeah.
Not that UCLA's fraudulent. I think Kirk Charlos has built something where like it kind of similar to what we talked about with ECU. It's plug and play. You lose a couple bodies, whatever. It's all good. Next guy up.
Hey, shout out to the Rice Owls, man. They went into Lafayette, Louisiana, took the series from a pretty good Louisiana team. Now, as we're starting to get into week 2, week 3 of the season, you start to figure out like who's good, who's not good. We came out of week 1 thinking, wow, Rice State's a really good team. Louisiana's a really good team. Rice State struggled this weekend big time against Oklahoma. And
Oklahoma looks really good too.
yeah,
I'm gonna throw that out there.
So So I mean, Louisiana, I'm a little more down on them now, but shout out to Rice. I don't remember seeing them have a big series win like that. They've had a couple nice midweek wins over the last couple of years, but a true Friday through Sunday weekend series, that was the best I've seen them play in a while.
Yeah, 100%. And as a former diehard Rice Owl fan, it was good to see them play good baseball. Same thing with the University of Houston. University of Houston wins 2 out of 3 pretty easily against St. John's. They lose today, but uh, Houston's pitching staff looks really good for the first time since 2017 when they hosted a regional.
Hey, can we believe? I know this is the time of the episode. If you're new here, this is where we just start jumping all over the country in game. Can you believe it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It took Georgia Tech 7 games before they gave up their first double-digit game, like from a pitching standpoint.
Right.
They probably last year. I'd have to look at their
Last year,
schedule,
they
but I'm
probably would
sure
have had 5 by now.
they usually have 5 by now. They lost to Cornell big today, but I mean, it's a Sunday game after already taking the series. But for them to go this long without giving up double-digit run, I'm impressed. I would say they're trending in the right direction because they have the lineup to do it, to win a lot of games.
I'll tell you the one team, because you guys were excited about Georgia Tech. The team that I was really excited about, that's kind of let me down a little bit, is Kansas State. I was on that broadcast last year for Holy Cross almost like 5 games. They came and lived in Charleston in hotels for about a week. So I had them a couple times. Sean Scanlon, who hit the game-winning homer yesterday, he's actually a two-way guy. He throws on the weekends as well. He's a big lefty. He's pretty nasty. But again, he's like 86, 87 with like 4 pitches. But he also hits bombs. Kansas State, though, I know they have no Tyson Neighbors. I thought the offense behind Kalen Culpepper was going to be a little bit deeper. Like struggling even today with a 6-5 win. Like it's a getaway Sunday, man. You're supposed to defend home turf a little bit better. And I was expecting them to bounce back after that loss and put up like a 10 or 11 spot. But not as deep as I maybe thought. Still super early. But if we're going to struggle with, hey, who's the battle of the cooler purple and Holy Cross and Kansas State Big 12 plays can be a rough awakening.
Hey, Jack, let me tell you something here. The longer you're with us and the longer you're really deep diving into college baseball, there's a 2-word thing that you need, a noun. It's 2 words. It's called blue blood. When a team like Kansas State or USC starts getting hyped up, don't buy into it. It usually doesn't work out.
But that was
a lot of people would argue USC is a blue blood because of what they did in the 80s and 90s. Since the super regional era, they were not blue bloods. You're right.
So when you start seeing hype for these kind of teams, don't buy into it. Look at it with extreme caution and skepticism.
Dimitri, throw back to like 3 years ago when Wake Forest was this team. Everybody was hyping up early Wake Forest, like 2021 Wake Forest, and we're like, we're not buying into it. We got to see it happen first. And we did it up until like last year. We were like, we need to see this team play. Ultimately, like they obviously earned everything because of last year.
Until a team goes into a regional, wins a regional, goes into a super, wins a super, and gets to Omaha, and then does well in Omaha, I can't buy into it because it experiences everything. I mean, you guys know it. I mean, imagine playing college baseball today. You feel like you would dominate it with all the knowledge and experience and the feel of everything. It's the same thing in a program. Like if you got a new head coach and everything, but to see a team with that jersey on win super regional gives you so much more confidence and knowledge on that you can do it too. So like for Wake Forest, for example, East Carolina, perfect example. They cannot get over the hump and get to Omaha. They have the experience in the regional, super regional. They have seen an East Carolina team get over that super regional hump. It is the hardest thing to do. Once they get to Omaha 1, they're gonna keep going. Yeah, it's gonna be every 2-3 years. You're gonna see East Carolina getting to Omaha. It's just you got to get over that first hump. Now Wake Forest for me last year.
I will say this because I am skeptical. Like I was all over UCSB, and then I saw everyone getting excited about them, and I was like, well, now they've taken away my fun. You got to understand, this is all.
Santa Barbara's a good example. They've been really good, like consistently good, but they haven't been like great. Yeah. But guess what? They went to Omaha. So that's why I think I'm confidently can put faith in them because they got to Omaha. They got over that super regional hump.
Yeah, one of the coolest walk-off grannies ever. But you got to understand, this is my personal bias. I interviewed 2 USA guys that went to Kansas State, and I go, what the fuck? You guys are at Kansas State together. How the hell are you wearing these jerseys? I don't understand. I don't know anything about Kansas State baseball. And then my personal bias is like, oh man, guys are gonna want to go play with these dudes. Tyson Neighbors a dog. Kalen Culpepper's sick. So that was my own personal bias. I didn't like that everyone jumped on the hype train with me, but hey, choo choo. I was already off to the racing, but yeah, I know what you mean though. Let's pump the brakes. I gotta see you get there first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
100%.
Ben, I know you're a huge fan of Nebraska. They looked good this weekend.
Yeah, they
They
won 3 out of
really
4
dominated
at Grand Canyon. Winning
a
3 out of
good
4 at
Grand
Grand
Canyon.
Canyon is tough because Grand Canyon always plays well at home. It's a big home field advantage, and, yeah, I mean, I like I said preseason, I said Sky or is it it's not Skybolt. Skybolt's the old UNC center fielder.
Yep, Skybolt,
Will
Carolina.
Bolt Will Bolt, head coach North Carolina or Nebraska, he's got a good thing going. You could kinda see bits and pieces last year, like, okay, this team's talented, like, they're a couple pieces away, and this year, I was bought in. I was like, "This Nebraska team will do some damage in the Big Ten." And, yeah, they went into Grand Canyon, won 3 out of 4, which is really impressive. They're the better team. Vegas kept making them underdogs. Like, they
I'm,
were
ex-
always plus 150, all 4 games.
I'm
So you coulda made
excited
some
for the
pretty good
Big Ten this
coin. Could have made some pretty big coin if you bet on them every day. But yeah, I was impressed with Nebraska. Speaking of that series, did you see where um, Grand Canyon? I think his name was Tyler Wilson hits a game tying grand slam in the 6th inning and gets ejected for bat flipping.
I saw the
What are your
video.
thoughts on that?
I saw the video. I think it's bush league bullshit, whatever you want to say, that you toss a guy for doing that. But I dug a little deeper into it. Something happened on Saturday night with one of Grand Canyon pitcher, or Nebraska. Somebody's pitcher did some bush league stuff, and so that was the retaliation for it. And so they were like pretty tight lipped on, well, like pretty short leash on Sunday because of what happened on Saturday. So you got to know the backstory sometimes for some of those things. So probably it was a warranted ejection, but on the surface of it, it looks terrible. It looks terrible, like let the kids play kind of thing.
But
You know?
Yeah,
even between the lines, though, I need, and again, the only I saw it, and then everyone goes up in arms on, oh, this is bullshit. The only thing I can think of is he yells something at him because the bad flip doesn't
right.
even warrant an ejection because it wasn't even a bad flip. Like to me, it wasn't even a bad flip. Unless he hits it and goes, yeah, like suck my balls. Okay, cool. Like then Yahtzee him, but like there's no shot that just the flip itself did it because it was like it's like a 2.5 on the 110 bat flip scale. It was not very good. He's stoked, but I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, Nebraska win over Baylor. Lost 6-3 to a good Texas Tech team. Lost by 1 to a good Oklahoma team, and then 3 out of 4 on the road at Grand Canyon. Like I'm like, all right, you guys have my attention now because
Yeah,
Nebraska, Indiana are licking their chops. Iowa's
and
struggling.
Maryland too. Maryland can win
Maryland
that
looks
conference
good.
too.
I mean, Maryland went down to Georgia Southern last weekend and beat them. And as the season goes on, you start to learn who's good, who's not good. Georgia Southern looked great at Mississippi State this weekend. They didn't look bad at all. So that's a good series win for Maryland when you look back at it.
Yeah, and
You said that
Rutgers is
about
another
Maryland.
team. Rutgers can play a little
Rutgers.
bit out
Yeah,
there in the Big Ten.
They kicked Old Dominion's ass this weekend.
Yeah,
it wasn't close. Yeah.
It wasn't even
I'll say
close.
this about Maryland. I want to go back. Maryland is giving serious Wichita State vibes where it's like you just had no idea what kind of team they were going to be because you had like 30 new transfers. It's a first year head coach. Did you guys by any chance see the video of Maryland's new skipper getting the game ball after his first collegiate win?
no, I didn't see it.
They're on the bus. He jumps on. Team captain flips him the ball, and they go nuts. And it wasn't like a charade. It wasn't like scripted. It looked like very genuine that they were super stoked for him. First time as a head coach getting a dub, and like the boys were fired up. I was like, ooh, that gives me Team of Destiny vibes in a conference I think is kind of up for grabs a little bit. I was like, oh, it's something that I mean they were a regional team a year ago, but now it's a totally different face. But they were kind of fun this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited for the Big Ten this year.
I am too. I've been preaching it since January. Guys, like the Big Ten's gonna be good. Uh, and there's a few other teams in the Big Ten that have done some damage. Now I can't think of Big Ten teams, but hold on. There, No, not Illinois. Illinois got trashed this weekend.
Illinois, dick.
Can I even name any more Big Ten teams? Minnesota, no.
No,
Michigan,
they got swept this weekend.
Yeah, Northeastern beat 'em.
yeah, Michigan, no. I'd say between not Illinois, sorry, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland,
Nebraska.
Nebraska, Penn State won
Penn
2 out of
State.
3 against Stanford, but Stanford's bad.
Horrible. They look garbage. Put them in the same boat with USC, right? I mean, that's disrespectful to put them in the same boat because they've done a hell of a lot more over the last 10 years. But dude, they're going to be a bottom tier Pac-12 team this year.
Yeah, my Stanford preseason Pac-12 pick's not looking too hot over Oregon State.
Hey,
but
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. In the new era, as we keep shifting towards this new style of recruiting and all that stuff, Stanford, outside of the education part, I feel like they're going to struggle to get top end guys up to Palo Alto. I just feel like they're going to struggle. There's no unique environment as Sunken Diamond. It's a very country club vibe. Like clap a little bit, don't clap too loud when we do well. And I mean, when you get to super regional, I feel like everyone can have a good atmosphere. I'm talking game 30 of the regular season. I want to see good atmosphere in the regular season. And Stanford never shows up. They never show up with good atmosphere. And I feel like they're going to struggle with this whole NIL, all this stuff. It's just they're going to
Plus,
struggle.
I don't think they can take transfer portal guys into the school.
They
Like,
can't.
I don't
Why?
think I feel like I read that somewhere. Like, if somebody from Auburn wanted to transfer to, transfer portal transfer to Stanford, I don't think they can. It would
Because
have
of
to be like a
academics.
grad transfer. I think it has to be a grad transfer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're saying all this while they just got the best Japanese hitter, high school recruit of all time, besides Otani, on his way to campus in a year from now. So maybe they're going to try a new strategy. I don't know what they're going to do, but I just feel like they're going to
What
have a
if
hard time.
Stanford just goes full international? That would be amazing.
I will tell you this. I know I have on the record from a football standpoint, they don't offer NIL money. Like they're not offering NIL collective. They are not offering a single dollar. So like a kid that has like Stanford, Miami, Virginia Tech, LSU, whatever. Stanford's on that kid's top 5 recruiting trail, knowing that they're not offering him a single dollar to go there other than a Stanford education. And that I do have that on the books. So like when they get bounced from Omaha last year, know that every single guy that was on that team was just there because they love Stanford and they love ball. But then when your best player, two-way dude, and Braden Montgomery starts to hear some of the dollars that are getting thrown around to some of the other top 10 guys, you're like, hey, I love Stanford. Like I remember where I was in the portal. He loved Stanford. Braden Montgomery loved Stanford. Malcolm Moore loved Braden Montgomery. There was no love lost when he left Stanford. It was just like, boys, I'm hypothetically going to get a bag at College Station, like getting a bag.
Yeah.
Like, how do you fault the kid?
I mean, there's the appeal going to Stanford if you're just a normal player, like somebody like me or you, Jack, who didn't have a career in professional baseball. Like, let's go get the Stanford education. Let's go make 85, 100 grand out of high school or out of college with our first jobs. But if you're Braden Montgomery, it's like, oh, I'm going to be a first round pick. I'm going to sign for $5 million. Like, let me just go get a bag in college. Let me get this fat NIL from Texas A&M for a year. And dude, he's good. I watched a lot of his at bats. People forget he's a switch hitter. Like he hit a bomb 420 feet right-handed today. People forget that.
Yeah. Hey,
Anyways,
you want to talk a little Big West? Because I know you've got something you're super excited about that team from Honolulu, Hawaii. So let's get into that. But I'm excited for the Big West, and I'm also excited for San Diego. I think I mean, you saw that team go into in Austin last weekend, lost a hard-fought series, back home, beat UC San Diego in the midweek, and then literally came down to the final out from sweeping Arizona. Like that is a good team, and it goes to show that's a big win, big series win for Texas, and it showed that hey, this San Diego team is legit.
yeah, the San Diego, the Toreros, they earned a lot of respect for me beating UC San Diego in the midweek and then following it up with almost a sweep of Arizona. So you're right. It shows how good that Texas team is and how good San Diego is because they lost some close games to Texas and they did win on Saturday in Austin. So Yeah, you bring up a good point there.
You wanted to take them out of the midweek last week, and I was fighting so hard to keep them in. You're like, dude, we got to take them out.
Oh, the mid-major
Power
poll?
ranking.
Yeah, I did. I made you take them out. I'm sorry.
And I was like, dude, no, this team is good. This team, but it is what it is. The power ranking, you kind of got to give the team early in the year the 3-0 over a 1-2 team. That's basically what it came down to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Hawaii. I think did they win today? They lost.
No, they ended up giving up like 7 runs in the 7th inning.
That's gonna be, they're maybe 2025. They'll host a regional.
I want it so bad. But yeah, the Big West is loaded. Between Long Beach State, who still hasn't lost yet, Fullerton looked pretty good against a really good Fresno State team. And then you have Santa Barbara, Northridge, UC San Diego.
Santa Barbara got to get going a little bit. They struggled with Sacramento State Friday night, and then they came back and blew them out the next two. But hey, you got to sweep some of these series, especially coming off that series loss to Campbell. You got to turn around and sweep to get the doubters off your back.
Yeah, and here's a team atop the Big West right now. UC Irvine is freaking nasty this year. Like they are an Omaha caliber team. Um, they're just whooping teams. Like they swept Tulane this weekend at Tulane, and I mean, they're averaging close to 10 runs a game through 7 games now. So they have a big series or a big Dodger Stadium Classic, whatever, this weekend. San Diego, Michigan, and UCLA. So UC Irvine could really make a statement if they sweep through that tournament. So I'm excited about next weekend.
That Sunday game against UCLA at Dodger Stadium, that might be a must-watch television. I think those games are on MLB.com. I don't remember exactly where those games are televised, but that is a big series, big weekend.
MLB Network picked up one of them. I know for a fact their MLB Network is broadcasting some of those games because they had some of those guys on that morning show, The Hot Stove. But I don't know for sure which. You got to imagine they're probably going to do the UCLA Michigan game,
Right.
But they'll pick up a Sunday game too, I'm sure.
Nice. All right, let's get out of here after we preview the midweek. Tuesday's got some good matchups, boys. Let's see. So East Carolina at Old Dominion. I know Old Dominion lost 2 out of 3 against Rutgers, but this is a typical Old Dominion wins the midweek at home spot. So East Carolina has to watch out there. You also have the big one at 4:00 Eastern. Campbell goes to Coastal Carolina. Must watch TV there. There might be 30 plus runs scored that game. Both teams might score 15.
You see what Coastal did today?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Coastal and Ole Miss were both scoring 22, 23 runs. Like they were going back and forth in their games.
Were we the ones that were concerned about Coastal's bats literally not even 6 days ago?
Not me.
Yeah. We and Ben were like, "Ooh, like the balls are not as juice." Man, what a terrible take!
I'll wear that
terrible
one.
take!
Terrible take.
I said
I'll wear that one.
I wear it right on the chin. This Coastal team didn't miss a beat. They're gonna rake again. The 7B of Conway, South Carolina, will supply the entertainment at the plate.
Yeah, it's crazy. 2 through 7 in their order all have the last name that starts with the letter B. Anyways,
San Diego, Northridge. That's a good one. South Florida, Florida State. Indiana State at Vanderbilt. Book it, boys.
Indiana State at Vanderbilt. I think Indiana State won this game last year, if I'm not mistaken, at Vanderbilt. South Florida at Florida State will be a good one. South Florida's sneaky good this year. I'm a big fan of South Florida.
Hey,
Georgia Southern at Jacksonville.
UCF at FAU.
Yeah. UCF looks good. How about Oklahoma State at Dallas Baptist?
That was the highlight one. I think that's book it, maybe. That's what I had maybe highlighted for our next Club Bromaha, buddy.
Ooh, you want to do it? Yeah, Tuesday night, 7:30?
I think so.
Are you working Tuesday night?
Well, Tuesday I'm off, but I have a game Wednesday. That's why I'm thinking a little Tuesday.
Oh, let's do it. Club Bromaha Tuesday night, 7:30.
I want to get – here's the thing. I really want to get on the DBU grind, and I think we kind of go like full-blown, like almost fake radio cast, and then we just bring in random people throughout the game. That's what I'm thinking.
Big fan of that idea. Let's do it. I'm down.
Mama, I want to get on the
Hey,
DB train too that you're on.
I gotta say one thing. I'm really concerned for the well-being of Cincinnati joining the Big 12. They look so bad. They are not ready for the Big 12, boys.
No,
They are
not in
not
baseball.
ready for what's about to hit them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They might not win a game in Big 12 play. I bet they win less
Yeah,
than 2
they'll win a
games.
couple.
Dude, they might win less than 3 games in Big 12 play. I'm not even kidding. They're going to get a win against Kansas, and they're going to get some random win against some good team. Dude, they might win 2 games in Big 12 play.
Yeah, they're not good. They're actually very bad.
Confirmed not
Hey,
good.
how about Wednesday? We'll finish the show here after we preview Wednesday, but LSU at Rice at 1:00 on Wednesday. That's
What the
awesome.
hell are they doing
I love
going
a
to
day
Rice?
game
Because they're sticking around in the
because
Oh,
LSU's playing in the
Yep.
Shriners this
Yep.
weekend. And then also on Wednesday, Missouri State at Ole Miss. Missouri State's really good. I know they lost 2 out of 3 to Southern Miss this weekend, but all 3 games were great. Back and forth matchups, low scoring. It was great. Evansville at Vanderbilt. So Vanderbilt has Indiana State and Evansville Tuesday, Wednesday. There's no
They're
way they
losing
win
one.
both, right?
They're losing one.
They're losing at least one. Florida Gulf Coast at Miami. I know Gulf Coast records 2-5, but they played a pretty tough schedule. We saw how good they looked against TCU opening weekend, so that's a typical like Miami loses a midweek to an in-state opponent. That happens all the time. Arizona at TCU, 7:00 Wednesday. How about Louisiana Tech being 7-0? They play against McNeese on the road. That feels like a trip up spot. McNeese always does
Buckshot
well in
boys are heating
midweeks.
up.
Yeah. Nicholls State at South Alabama, 6-1 versus 7-1. That's a good down south Cajun country. Good matchup there. And then Long Beach State at UCLA. That's a big one. So some good midweek matchups.
Yeah.
Starting to feel like that type of year. Here's kind of my low key possible upset, like big time upset in the midweek. Wednesday, and I know Troy and Coach Meade, they're our boys, but Kent State goes to town in a 1-5 record, but they've played UNCW and Louisiana Tech in their 6 games. Kent State's a good program, and
How
they
dare
play Troy Tuesday night and Wednesday night. I think Kent State wins one of those 2 games.
you think you are?
I'm going to have to disrespectfully disagree.
That's fine.
Ditto. Double ditto to Dimitri there. That's a terrible take. I think you get bounced at a Club Bromaha for something like that. A little 10-minute timeout for the boy.
Someone has to play the heel there, dude. Someone
Hey, are you
has to.
guys
I mean,
offering
I like Kent State. I think they're a good team. They're due for a win. 1-5 is just not who this team is. They'll
Are you
figure
guys
it out. They'll
offering
win one of the 2.
Are you guys offering 2-for-1 drink special on Tuesday night at Club Bromaha?
Bro, Dimitri, you're the first one in, buddy. Let's roll.
I'm in.
What is the Tuesday drink special going to be? I feel like are we a Fireball pod or anybody that we're – here's the deal.
No.
Similar to a bribery, anyone who will sponsor us, like I'll even go as low as 4 Loco if they want to throw the boys a couple.
Hey, what if we do a flash sale and on the merch during Club Bromaha hours?
Yes. It's a
I'm
happy
down
hour.
for any idea.
It's a happy hour.
20% off during Club Bromaha hours.
It's a happy hour.
And we got to plug it. Go get you a beaver. Defend the dam.
I love that. I also we did introduce the guarantee during Club Bromaha. It's an idea that I'll continue to ravel off of. We'll build in check marks. Like once Club Bromaha hits 1,000 subscriptions, I will live in Club Bromaha piss my pants. 2,000, I will do. We'll figure something out, a different check mark. But Ben, I have an idea. When you were talking about
Jersey Jerry.
Is that a deal? Is he pisses his pants?
He pissed his pants live on the middle of the basketball court.
Well, I did that. I didn't start it. My one of my best friends, Cooper Maroka, developed the guarantee. Were you in Club Bromaha for that, Dimitri?
I heard about it when the dugout was screaming guarantee.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the guarantee is if I looked at Ben and I said, Ben, I know you're a Big Ten fan. I think the CAA is better than the Big Ten. I know it's borderline. It's a borderline take. But
anyway, let's wrap this thing up before we go off the rails here.
need Dimitri to end this thing with a bang. If I think that the CA is better than the Big Ten or than the Big Ten, this weekend we have the opportunity to find out. If Ben Upton wants to travel up to Charleston, South Carolina, I'll put him on the broadcast while I'm in Houston. I'm almost willing to guarantee that the Cougars split with Nebraska or win.
Is it a 4-game series?
4-game set, Thursday through Sunday. I'm almost willing to guarantee that the Cougs take 2. If they don't,
Wait. Oh, wait. This. Okay, I'll make a guarantee with you, but somebody has to win 3 out of 4 or sweep. 2-2, nothing happens.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the guarantee is that it's not a bet. It's not a two-way street. I'm just saying that I guarantee that the Cougs walk away with.
Oh, okay. So not a bet.
No, not a bet. Unless you'd like, we can figure out a friendly wager. Like,
No,
I'll bet.
I'll do what you say. Like, I think this is a good. So you're saying if the Cougs don't win 2 games against Nebraska,
Yeah.
you'll piss your pants.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that guarantee.
What are we doing? This is Club Bromaha stuff. This is not 11.7 Sunday recap content right here.
Well,
I think people are loving this right now.
We're previewing what's to come, Dimitri. This is a big set. College of Charleston 7-0. I think Nebraska's got some doubters to prove wrong. This is a good matchup. This is going to be sneaky one of the better matchups, I think, in the country this weekend.
Should I do the broadcast? Should I hop on? Should I hop on the broadcast? And I think I might do it.
Yeah. You're almost making me want to go. We could do it together, but we'll have plenty.
No, you need to be in Houston. You need to be in Houston this week. Anyways, we kind of got off the rails there at the end. Let's wrap up the show right there. Incredible week 2. On to week 3. Join Club Bromaha. It'll be 7:30 to 8 o'clock, probably 8 o'clock Eastern, Tuesday night. So 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll be on live streaming the midweek madness, taking listener chat questions. We'll do it all. It'll be fun.
Hey, there will be a promo code for 20% off all merch in the Club Bromaha stream. You have to be there to get the promo code, and then you can go get whatever you want from the merch. But the promo code will be in Club Bromaha exclusive. So
yes.
See you guys Tuesday night. I might make an appearance.
Praise God.